Welcome to another lesson for Writing Task 1 on how to write an essay to describe a diagram, a chart, a table, or a graph. And in this video, I'm going to share specifically the best strategy for dealing with pie chart essays when it comes to Writing Task 1. You know that in Writing Task 1, you have 20 minutes to write an essay of 150 words, and I want to show you the best way to get the score you need when it comes to writing essays about pie charts. So let's get started, and we're going to deal with pie charts. And the first thing to recognize about any task when it comes to writing task 1 and the criteria for getting the score that you need is that, first of all, 25% of your mark comes from task achievement. So before any vocabulary or grammar comes into play, 25% of your mark is going to be on making sure you accomplish the task. And when it comes to a quick overview of what you'll be doing and trying to achieve in task number 1, is that you will begin with looking at the question to make sure you're clear on what the graph or pie chart is about. You'll be identifying the main features. You'll write an introduction. You'll write an overview of the pie charts. And then you'll write detailed paragraphs about the pie chart. So this is what's going to happen as we go through this lesson. I'm going to take you step by step through each part of this strategy and make sure that you are accomplishing the task that you need to do. So 25% of your mark is task achievement, and another 25% is how you structure your essay. So again, even before vocabulary and grammar come into play, 25% of your mark is task achievement, and 50% is how you structure your essay. So as you think about structuring your essay, you're going to want to have 4 paragraphs, no more and no less. The danger when it comes to structuring your essay is that you will include information that is not necessary. Because when it comes to writing 150 words in task number 1, the danger is not that you won't write enough words. The danger is that you'll write too much. It's very easy to write too many words and provide too much information because you only want to write 150 words. So if you follow this structure, you won't have to worry about counting your words. If you simply follow this, you will have the right length of essay for writing task 1. So before we even get started, task achievement and structure are worth 50% of your marks. So this is why it's so important to be aware of this. And now I'm going to take you step by step through everything you need to do to accomplish writing task 1 and pie charts successfully. So let's get started. The first thing you want to do is analyze the question. And the question also always includes 3 things. First of all, in the first sentence, you have a description of the graphic. And this is simply what the pie chart is about. And this will come in very handy when it comes to writing your introduction, as you'll see as we go through this lesson in just a moment. And then in sentence number 2 of the question, you have your task. You have your instructions, and it's so important to read the instructions and be aware of exactly what you have to do. And in writing task 1, you summarize the information, you select and write about the main features, and you make some kind of comparison between the main features. And then also in the question, you have your graphic, your chart, your graph, your table. And in this case, in this lesson, we're looking at pie charts. When you look at the question, you'll see that when it comes to task achievement, you have three things and only three things that you have to do. You have to select the main features, write about the main features, and compare the main features. So don't do any more than this, don't do any less, and you'll get the score you need when it comes to task achievement. So the first step we want to take when it comes to accomplishing our task and selecting the main features and knowing what to write about is to plan our essay. Because if we take 4 or 5 minutes to carefully plan the essay, we'll write a much better essay in 15 minutes than we would in 20 minutes if we didn't take the time to carefully plan it out. So we always want to look at the units of measurement. And in this situation, each pie chart has 5 different units of measurements. We would look for time periods. And in this case, there are no time periods. So that's not something that we need to worry about when it comes to this essay. The next most important thing is to look at the labels and the titles of these pie charts. And we can see that these 2 pie charts, one is the reason for cycling to work, and the other one is the reasons for driving to work. And then we have labels that describe 5 different reasons for cycling and 5 different reasons for driving to work. And then we want to look at, are there any obvious trends? And for obvious trends, we just want to look at the biggest segments of the pie chart. For cycling, it's health and fitness and less pollution. For driving, it's comfort and the distance factor when it comes to driving. And are there any similarities? Well, we can clearly see that one of the similar labels between cycling and driving is the speed of getting to work. So because in the cycling pie chart, we have faster than driving, and in the driving pie chart, we have faster than cycling. So these are things to take notice of, make brief notes about, so that you know the content and what's going to be included in your essay. And once you have asked yourself these questions and you know the possibilities for what can be included in this essay, then you want to select the main features. And in this case, it's quite simple. We're only going to talk about 2 main features, one to do with cycling and one to do with driving. And we're going to look at the largest segments of each pie chart. For cycling, it's health and environment reasons. And for driving, it's for comfort. So once we've asked ourselves the questions of the possibilities that could be included in this essay, we want to select our 2 main features. And it's important to discern what are the best main features to speak about, because you don't want to write about every detail in the pie charts. If you were to write about every detail and not just select the most important ones, then that's where you run into trouble with having an essay that's far too long and you spend time writing about things that aren't necessary. So always select just 2, at the most 3 main features when it comes to writing task 1. And this is going to form the content of your essay. So let's begin by reminding ourselves that our essay is only going to have 4 paragraphs, an introduction, an overview, we're going to have one paragraph with our first main feature and one paragraph with our second main feature. So now I'm going to take you step by step on how to write each paragraph and what to include with each paragraph. So let's begin with the introduction. And as I mentioned earlier, the first thing we want to do is just look at how the question describes the charts or the diagram or table that we're looking at. And in this case, the question specifically says, the chart below shows the reasons why people travel to work by bicycle or by car. So when it comes to writing our introduction, all we want to do is simply rewrite the question in our own words. We want to use synonyms and we want to paraphrase. And so for our introduction, we're simply going to reword the question in our own words and say the two pie charts display the key reasons why people choose to either cycle or drive to work by percentage. And as you can see, this introduction is not even a full paragraph. Again, we want to be careful on making sure we limit the number of words that we use and not write too much. So our introduction really isn't even a full paragraph. It's just one clear sentence to introduce the topic of our essay. And then we come to paragraph number 2, where we provide an overview of the entire diagram or the entire chart, putting the two charts together. So we're going to say something about the main reason why people cycle to work and the main reason why people drive to work. And we're going to mention one similarity, and that is that both choose to drive because they think it's the fastest. And this is a similarity. This is a similarity between the two graphs, so we'll mention it in our overview. So again, our overview is not a long paragraph. It's only 2 sentences, but it gives a summary of what's going to come as we mention the details of our pie charts. And so in paragraph 3, we're going to choose the first main feature, and we're simply going to write about the pie chart that deals with cycling or traveling by bike. And so when we want to talk about the main feature, the largest proportion, we're saying that people like to cycle for health and fitness and because of less pollution, so health and environmental reasons. And we can mention specifically the exact percentages just to give a little more detail. But again, we don't have to write a lot. We're only focusing on the main features when it comes to cycling. And so then it's quite easy to choose what to write about in paragraph 4, which is where we're going to compare driving. And this paragraph is simply going to talk about why people choose to drive to work. And that's because of comfort and the distance to work. So that's simply what we're going to mention in paragraph 4. And then we'll simply wind up by saying that when it comes to cycling and driving, both are equal in the amount who find it faster. So this is our complete essay. It's a very simple process. I'm not saying writing an essay is easy, but with the right strategy, focusing on your task achievement and structure, you will be able to come up with a simple strategy and a very effective strategy for getting the score you need in writing task 1 and dealing with pie charts. And we have our completed essay, which again is no more than 200 words. It's probably about 180 to 190 words, and this is just the right amount for writing task 1. I hope you found this helpful, and I want to wish you all the best as you continue to prepare for the IELTS exam.